We're turning our attention to the power sector now, and Wonodi Rumundaka joins us. He is the CEO of Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading Company. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, ever since the MB, the bulk trader, was established, many would have thought that, okay, well, now that they're there, the discos may not have problems until they're financially stable and strong, such that they can then directly enter into the power purchase agreements. To what extent would you say that the bulk trader is living up to his billing ever since inception?
Good morning, Chamberlain, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Yesterday, actually, I was here, but for a little miscommunication with your grand staff, I had to go back to the office. So I just want to assure viewers that we're always very ready to discuss the power issues and enlighten the public on what's going on. Yes, the mandate of the bulk trader particularly is to help galvanize the market, stabilize the market, and allow contracts to be the platform for trading to happen in the market, so that when generation companies generate power, there's a contract through which they transfer that to the bulk trader, and then the bulk trader also through a contract transfers that to the distribution company. What has happened in the past is that distribution companies were not able to meet payments to generation companies. So as part of that, we are requiring them to not just enter the contracts, but to provide a form of a guarantee that power offtaken by them will be paid for. And then just last week, if you were following the news, through the central bank intervention, which provided some liquidity and comfort for the market, we were able to activate those contracts for the generation companies, providing them the security they needed for that activation of contracts.
Well, since the bulk trader is there to perform all of those functions, do you think that it was necessary at the time to implement an increment in tariff?
Please, could you take that again?
What's the correlation between the increment in tariff and the bulk trader performing those functions?
Oh, okay. So, like I was saying, if at the time people believe that you do not have a market price, or you could also hear that there's no cost-reflective tariff, then you don't want to activate the contracts knowing that there is a deficit in the revenues that we pay for generation. So with the new cost-reflective tariff, it allowed us to activate those contracts. They were signed pre-privatization, but they were held inactive. So with the new cost-reflective tariff, we were then able to confidently activate it, knowing that the revenue coming from distribution companies, or should be coming from distribution companies, should be enough to guarantee payments across the value chain. Some of the liabilities that had accrued in the past also needed to be liquidated, taken care of, and that was what the central bank did. They provided that liquidity, which is a loan to the industry, and the only thing is that it's a soft payment terms.
Why do you think there are those many who think that there may just be another round of licensing, given the way that it's turning out at the moment, that they don't seem to be fulfilling some of those obligations?
When you say licensing, you mean on the generation side? Because on the generation side, the whole idea is to let more people come in. So we're looking to diversify the generation mix, where there has been licensing for solar power plants, and we are looking to enter into firm agreements with those solar developers in short term, so that they can also come to the grid. So the same with coal and wind and other forms of renewable. On the side of the distribution,
yes,
the whole country has been mapped out into 11 distribution companies, and each one covers some of the states. Well, is there opportunity to expand the licenses within the distribution areas? Yes, NEC has a regulation called Independent Electricity Distribution Network, which will allow areas that are not connected to the grid or where the distribution company has no program to get there to actually be licensed, and then they can put power and then manage such grid. So there is an opening for mini grids to that extent.
Let's talk about the grids here, because what Nigerians are looking for is to have power. They're not, the semantics or the technological terms may not really bother them that much. But you're talking about the national grid and you're looking at more independence coming in. How quickly would that be? And must they all connect to the national grid? Can't we have captive power?
Exactly. You should have captive power. You can also have the mini grids. Captive power means that actually you put power and then you have a captive off-taker. So it's more to deal with if you have a large industry or large establishment and then you put a power plant for that establishment. Now, when you begin to connect to more than one customer, then you're talking about a mini grid. And if you hear the minister what we're talking about, that there is a way that we can actually reach out to rural areas by using establishments that are closer to rural areas or places that are not outside of the grid. So you could use universities, you could use large agricultural establishments or industries to reach that. So definitely it makes sense to have mini grids. And you know that there are some rural populations that are far-flung. They are quite away from the grid. The normal practice of trying to extend rural electrification over stretches of land to just power a few homes does not make sense. It's not economical. It's better that instead of spending that money to actually have small grids relying on renewable energy and things like mini hydros, 1 megawatt, 2 megawatts, and things like that. Yes, so to your comments, there is scope for mini grids, and everybody does not need to be connected to the one national grid.
How quickly are we going to have the independence come on so that this mini grids can kick off as much as they should? There are a few of them already, but how quickly? You've talked about licensing for solar power, but how quickly? What's the deadline?
Well, I am not in a position to tell you that. That is more of the remit of the regulator, but I know that there's a policy to that effect.
Well, okay, I'm just wondering because yesterday we were told that there really isn't any gas law in this country, and if that's the case, what are we doing about that?
Well, I think it's all about the petroleum industry bill. We also very eagerly looking forward to passing of that bill, because one of the things that we also would like to see is a regulator for the downstream gas business. But we still have commercial frameworks through which we are operating. It will be very much enhanced by the passing of the petroleum industry bill. We have gas supply agreements, we have gas transportation agreement, we have gas suppliers, but we need an overarching bill that also puts a fiscal framework for investment in that sector of the economy and the energy value chain.
Are we in any way de-emphasizing focus on gas and perhaps moving to hydro?
I will not say that we're de-emphasizing. What we're doing is trying to diversify the mix, and also that diversifying the mix is very helpful because it leads to energy security. We had relied heavily on gas. Gas will continue to be a major component for power generation, but you have to look at it in terms of we need incremental power. So we get power from wherever we can get power, from hydro, from solar, from gas. But